All right, I'm back with Joe from Queens. We're going over some Buffalo Bills season-ending takeaways. Again, a heartbreaking, a gut-wrenching loss to the Kansas City Chiefs that, quite frankly, just should have never happened. And we both agree that this is coaching. This one is on coaching. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. But anyway, players got to play. And I think for the first time this year, for sure, Tre White being gone really, really hurt him. Now, he hurt him a little bit in Tampa, I thought, at least for that first half. Tampa Bay's offense, a bunch of skilled position players, Tom Brady, and they kind of ate the Bills defense up. That wasn't just on Levi Wallace and Dane Jackson. No, the whole defense didn't come to play. This week, this was a rough week, man. This was a rough week for Levi Wallace. And so I'm kind of tying 2 points together here. This is the first week that I think they really, really lamented the loss of Tre White. And also Levi Wallace, a guy who I thought had a pretty damn good season. And I thought was turning into a legitimate number one corner. I got to be honest with you, Joe. The biggest stage, and this was not a good game. I think Levi Wallace, who's going to be a free agent, who signed a 1-year contract last year for just $1.2 million. I think Levi Wallace cost himself some money in free agency this year. But anyway, man, I mean, Tre White is a Pro Bowl corner, and I thought the Bills kind of got a little bit lucky this year, man. I mean, after he went down again, with the exception of Tom Brady, they played Matt Jones 3 times. They played Zach Wilson, another rookie. They played Cam Newton, who I think about him. I think he's trash, especially when it comes to throwing the football. And Matt Ryan's washed up. They really didn't have a lot of stiff competition in his absence. They did on Sunday. Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill had 10 catches for 150 yards. Now, to be fair, he did a lot of that against Tre White last year, too, in the AFC Championship game. But they weren't up to the task, man. They really, really were hurt by the Tre White injury in this game.
I agree with that, but I'm not giving them a pass on that because you know what? I have been sitting here on this podcast. I don't know. This is my 2 billionth episode. Who the hell knows at this point? I have talked about I've not bought into this defense when they go against elite offenses, and this just reinforced it. And before you say the Tre White thing, Mahomes destroyed them in the playoffs last year with Tre White. The Chiefs got 453 yards in offense in the regular season game last year in Buffalo with shitty fucking rain. Yes, it hurt a little bit, sure. But you know what? That first game, the Chiefs still threw a bunch of yards in that game as well. I think overall, the defense is just overrated. I'm sorry. They have. I know people don't want to hear about. You can't control who you play during the regular season. You're right, you can't. But you know what? In the playoffs, you got to play great offenses. Okay, that's the teams that are going to the playoffs, and it proved that they gave up so many. They gave up maybe 500 yards on offense. And on Sunday, the Buccaneers 500 yards. This is a defense that I actually kind of. I know I'm taking a dump on them, and I think they deserve it because it's a defense that I think if this was 10 years ago and the Bills rolled out this roster, the Bills would be a 15-1 team because I think defense then was more important than it is today. They have put so much money into this defense, draft picks, capital. It's like I saw this. I looked this up today. I think they have 7 first or second round picks on the front 7. Either picks from them or original, like Starr or Jerry Hughes, guys like that. And on the offense, you know how many first and second rounders they have on offense? 2. That's it. 2. Deion Dawkins and Josh Allen. They have tried to build complementary football, and I'm telling you, it's not going to work when you go against the Chiefs. You have to outscore them. And the Bills defense, it was number 1. They were paper champions. I'm sorry. They beat up a bunch of shitty bums. That's what it is. I'll do the Mickey from Rocky 3. They were scabs or whatever the hell he said, in that thing when he was yelling at Rocky about the hand-picked champions. That's what it was. I'm sorry. You cannot. I am not asking them to shut down the Chiefs 38-3 or something like that. You have to slow them down. I'm not throwing a freaking parade because they got some stops in the third and fourth quarter. And that's it. The money, the investment they put into this thing, they drafted that entire draft class last year was basically to stop Patrick Mahomes, and they didn't stop them. And
Yeah.
maybe next year, look, they got some young guys on the defensive line. They got El Oliver, Rousseau. I think those guys are very good. I think they're going to get better. But again, it's the nature of the game right now. It's just like you just don't. I would not bother investing in it anymore. I would just invest in like offensive doom. Like get more, just keep building the offense, man, because they try to do it, and when they go against a great offense, they get toasted. Tell me a game, like I looked this up before we came on, and I looked at their schedule this year. Do you know how many times they played a team that was in the bottom, like, but that was ranked in points scored between 20th and 32nd? 9 times. 9 times they played because like the Dolphins offense was terrible, the Jets offense was terrible, the Jags terrible. All of these terrible offenses they played this year. And you know who the top tier offense they win against this year? The Titans. How many points did they give up against the Titans? Like 35, and Henry ran for 2 billion yards. The Buccaneers, freaking 500 yards in offense, and the Chiefs.